Hey, so I'm back making another video, and I was thinking about, how I was just started, and that's just like, my God, I wonder if my wicked family realizes the crap that they've caused me. I mean, if they can't, then these people are truly the epitome of the demonic. But, I know that this has been some sort of competition in their mind with some sort of need to one-up me for whatever reason. And it's, I never thought to compete against my family, and then I would have never done anything like this. I mean, I understand how important it is when you go to work to present yourself in the most professional manner as you possibly can, and to create a scenario where somebody is trying to compete with you, to one up with you, or try to prove that they're better than you in a place of business, of all places, is one of the worst things you could ever do to a person. It kind of started off with this iPhone thing. Okay, when I was working at the farmer's place, apparently they bought cell phones for like the general manager or whatever, and I think a few other people. But I didn't get an iPhone. I didn't make a big deal out of it, but it made me think, okay, what's going on? Now I realize that my family had manipulated the situation to where they felt as though, oh, don't give her one, whatever. Anyway, so I started working for this particular company where I was given an iPhone to work for my work or whatever. I rarely used it because I was used to my phone that I had bought. I was getting used to cell phones. I mean, I know it's kind of crazy, but, I've had cell phones since, I think, 2004, but I've never really kept up with the technology of it. So, things were changing as far as modeling and design of cell phones. So I went to the store and got a cell phone, which it was my first cell phone. It's not my first cell phone, but my first cell phone that looked, I guess, modern, I guess. Anyway, so they were telling me that, a lot of people start off with this particular phone, and it was like a Windows phone. I think it was like a Nokia or something. So I got that, and I was happy with it. I mean, it was, it did everything I needed it to do. I was able to send text messages, make phone calls, whatever. It had a camera on it, and that was pretty much all I really needed. So anyway, there was a lot of one-up me going on. So I got this cell phone, an iPhone from my employer, but I was content with my other phone. The only time I used my iPhone is when I received phone calls from my employer. That was it. So I noticed a girl, she was basically saying, "Oh, you're not using your iPhone." I'm like, "No," because I was doing something, getting ready to leave for break or whatever, and I was doing something on my phone, and she's like, "You're not using your phone." I'm like, "Well, I just looked at it this way. This is my work phone, okay? I'm not going to use my iPhone for anything other than work, and I'm not somebody, like I said, I don't keep up with technology, but now looking back, I realize that it was their way of kind of showing off, I guess, kind of competing with me. Anyway, this whole thing has been a nightmare to me, and I hope they realize the damages that they've caused and the evil that it's brought out in other people. It has really been a nightmare for me. And, what makes me so upset about this is that, I went off with my life, meaning I left home to be able to provide for my child. And that's one of the reasons why I moved to this area, because Bakersfield has always been, it seems, more economically stable, I should say, than what I perceived the Antelope Valley to be, because the Antelope Valley was very limited as far as, work was concerned. It was either aerospace industry, the education, maybe be a teacher, work for the school district or something along those lines, or work in law enforcement, whatever. But I never really saw anything that had, as many opportunities as this particular community was. So that's why I moved here, And so, to think that people would actually follow you and lead and create problems that are going to affect you and your ability to live. How is it that they couldn't realize that? I get sick to my stomach when I think about it. I really do, because they put me in a very delicate situation. Did they really think that this sort of harassment was just going to blow over? Did they think that this was something that they could do without consequences? And the consequences, I'm feeling the consequences for something I've never done. Didn't deserve any of this. I would have never realized that my family was so competitive, and looking back, I'm thinking, my God, I deal with this sort of pain every day, not because I miss them, but because I realize that all throughout these years, these people have been wishing me harm and damaging my relationships and my life. So it's hard for me to deal with that. And then on top of it, try to get myself in a situation where I feel comfortable and I'm not continually living through trauma, because right now I'm continually living through this trauma. I wake up every day and I'm dealing with it all the time. And, it's like, how is it that these people don't realize what they've done? And if they should realize what they've done. And if they ever do realize what they've done. And what they've done is they've set me back many years in my life. They put me in a situation. I'm 47 years old right now, and I shouldn't be scraping by and suffering in the manner that I have been. And it's very painful. Okay, you cannot create social issues and expect them to just blow over. Okay, you cannot highlight a person. You cannot shed or put somebody in the spotlight like these people have done and expect there not to be consequences, or that that people are just going to shrug their shoulders and leave me alone. Okay, what these people have caused is a very negative situation, one that I find very difficult to get out of, and I'm tired of it, and it's just something that's always stressing me out, and I'm always worried about it, and it's the biggest source of depression for me. So I'm not happy with how this has turned out, and I'm upset. I don't need any of their lessons or their directions. I don't need it. I mean, I look at my siblings and I think these are the people that I couldn't model myself after them in any way, shape, or form. There is nothing about them that I would want to emulate in any way. Okay, the only thing I thought I admired about my sisters, Lisa, was the fact that she was very hands-on. Like, she could put things together quickly, and she, she's good with her manual skills. But other than that, I mean, and that's not to cut her down, even though I have every right to cut her down, but I just feel like, my sisters are very competitive, and it kind of comes off as jealousy to me, and that's, you never want your family members, especially, to be jealous. Some people like that. They like people being jealous of them. I don't like it, because what it is, it creates some sort of sickness in a person. Like, if you found out your best friend was jealous of you, that's not a good thing. And why people want to invite that sort of hostility into their life is beyond me. They must be foolish, because when people are jealous of you, they treat you in a way where they really will do everything they can to make you suffer. Anything, okay? And so that's pretty much what my family has done to me. I would have never done that to my family. I would never do it to anyone. And I swear to you, I mean, I look at these people and I think, my God, I would never put anyone else in this situation. If I saw some people enacting some sort of harm to another individual in my place of work, I wouldn't participate in it. Why? Because I understand the psychological effects that it causes, the financial devastation that it causes, and it's a tremendous amount of pain. It is a tremendous amount of pain. These people owe me a lifetime for their stupid bullshit that they would create in my workplace, the drama, the campaign smears, all of these sort of things. My sister Lisa has the idea, because she doesn't take care of herself. She's one of those people, she doesn't, okay? And there's a lot of women like that, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's how you are. But if you are happy that way, do not attack other people who choose not to be that way. People who care about what they eat, how they take care of themselves. That's nothing wrong with that, okay? But when you attack other people, that to me is a form of jealousy. It's a form of jealousy. And then also, I think that my family has a very negative view based on the way that my mother is. My mother doesn't take care of herself either, and that's I'm not happy about that. You know what I mean? But some people are like that, and they literally have it in their minds that you're supposed to grow up, grow old, and just basically be a slob. You know, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's pretty much how it is. And when someone doesn't when somebody's not like that, then they think it's some sort of slap in the face. It's not a slap in the face, you know. I cared very much about my mother, regardless of the fact that I felt as though she was not somebody who was prepared to be a mother, you know. But I overlooked a lot of that. But now that I see what her kids are, it makes me sort of think a little bit differently, you know. I live with this pain on a daily basis. I mean, I live with it on a daily basis. It is non-stop. You know, from the time I get up to the time I go to bed to the time I come home, okay? And then when it's the weekend, guess why I'm sitting here bored on the weekends? Because I'm not being fulfilled throughout the week. And the reason why I'm not being fulfilled throughout the week is because my life is not normal. It is not in the way that I need it to be in order to fully function. You know, and am I ever going to get back to that point? That's my biggest concern. You know, because these people have created nothing but problems where it's very difficult. You know, you've got employers sitting here messing with you, wanting to call you in for job interviews just to waste your time. For what reason? You've made me a target, not just of your own weird, you know, evil type harassment or whatever, but you've made it so that other people would harass me. And that's the biggest issue. And so it all starts off with the competition. I don't need an iPhone. I don't need, you know, things like that. You know, I have updated since then. I mean, obviously you break cell phones, you wear them out, whatever, so you replace them. I'm using an Android. I think it's an Android phone. Yeah, it's an Android phone. I'm not materialistic. You know, actually the Windows phones are pretty good, okay, but some people aren't quite happy with them. But based on what I need, I'm very content, okay? But these little things right here that are just petty, and don't bring petty issues into the workplace. So I'm going to tell people who might be doing this sort of stuff to their families, it is never a good thing to sit here and create hostile environments in your workplace. It is not a good thing to manipulate jobs behind the strings, okay? It is not for you to decide what a person's supposed to make, how they're supposed to live, what kind of furniture they're supposed to buy, how they're supposed to look, whatever. These sort of things are a form of control, and it's narcissistic, okay? It is a form of abuse, okay? You don't see me smiling because I'm living under a system of abuse, is basically what it is. You know, that my own family have put me in. So this is a message to certain people who, you know, may have disagreements with their family. If you want to be responsible for leading a person into this sort of chaotic life that is basically a form of genocide, okay, and also a form of, you know, it is illegal, obviously, then think twice, okay? You might have your disagreements, but it's better for you to discuss your disagreements in front of that person. But do keep in mind that this person is an adult and they have the right to live how they want to. Don't ever do this to another human being ever again, ever. I mean, it's the worst thing you could ever do, you know? It would be better if my family just took a gun and shot me. That's exactly how I look at it, instead of making you live this life over and over and over again. Okay, I have been wasting 21 years of my life, you know, trying to do everything I could, doing everything I could to prove to my employer that I'm a good worker. But guess what? You know, I'm sitting here struggling and scraping by. I'm far more, what do you call it? More responsible, you know, and more useful than in the workplace than many of the people who got involved in this. And yet I'm somehow suffering. Okay, all because of my family. Okay, so for people who like to manipulate jobs of their family members, for people who think that you have to impose your will, your thoughts, your opinions onto other people's life, think again, okay, before you bring this out to the public domain, before you sit here and create hate campaigns. Think about these sort of things before you do it, because you could be putting this person into a system that they don't belong in, okay? You know, you need to understand that you have your likes, they have their likes, they have the right to live however they want to, okay? But this sort of thing is wrong. And I'm a great example of why you should not do these things. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.